I've lived in Sheridan about 27 years, and my kids, all 5 of my kids, went to school either in Sheridan or Willamina, and they're all grown now. One is an attorney, one is a musician, one is an artist, one is a programmer. Anyway, all from right here in Sheridan. They grew up, we had a great time. I know an awful lot about the insides of your schools. As a matter of fact, I think most everybody is too young here, but I did teach mural painting to the Faulkner School before it burned down. And Chapman, I don't know if the murals are still there, but there's some big colorful panels in the gym. No, well, they were there. But I worked as I'm a working artist. When we first moved to town, within the first 5 years, I noticed these wonderful walls around here. And I got to know some people. And a friend of mine, you might know him, his name is Bob Engel. He's also an artist in town. We met. And between the two of us, we kind of decided that there's some beautiful walls here in Sheridan that would make great murals. Well, you can imagine, murals just don't happen. Somebody has to buy the paint. Somebody has to get the permission of the building. They have to decide what's going to be painted on it. You can't really take a spray can and tag things because people don't like that, do they? So you have to do something that everybody likes. And that usually involves money, frankly. And so in 1995, and 94, 95, and 96, the little town of Sheridan, whether you knew it or not, there was an awful lot of discussion in Salem, the Oregon Arts Commission. That's sort of like a big art club, and they have decision-making capabilities, and they can write checks to fund specific projects. Well, of course, a lot of people want some of that money to do different things all around the state. Well, they looked at Sheridan, and because Sheridan was a community mixed up the way we are with all the different kinds of people that we have, and there wasn't very much art in the community, they decided that, hey, this is a pretty good idea. Let's help them paint some murals in Sheridan. But that was just the first starting of it. We had to show some drawings to them. We had to show some drawings to whoever owned the buildings. And that was kind of a hard thing to do because they had to pay some of the money too. See, fortunately or unfortunately, but realistically, art has something to do with money right now. Not always. You guys are learning some wonderful, wonderful things that makes your heart feel better. But when you want to go painting on somebody's walls in downtown, it usually has something to do with money. So let me tell you about what we did. For instance, well, let's talk about the big one. You recognize this? This is like anything you've seen before. Yeah. This one. This is an artifact. This is the working model for the river mural. I call it the river mural there on Art Hebert Plaza, and you're welcome to look at it. And I have a bunch of photographs too. Notice that there's paint dripped on it, and it's kind of old and chipped because we took this to the site every single day to work on it. And you can see the lines that are drawn on it. We actually drew those lines on that great big wall. And of course, in order to get up there to paint it, we had to get some special equipment, which again, somebody had to pay for. And we had to climb up there in the hot sun, not in the rain, because you can't paint outdoors in the rain, can you? But the idea was the murals, all 6 of them that were in town during that time period, we were to be finishing them as part of Sheridan Days. So the timing, you know, you had to look at the calendar and go back 3 or 4 weeks, power wash the building, get everybody up to okay the design, get the equipment there, buy the paint, get everybody excited, then hope to heck it doesn't rain too much. So that in the last week at Sheridan Days, We were sort of like, well, we were performing artists. We were up there on the scaffolding. Maybe some of your older brothers and sisters or your folks would probably remember. And I have some great pictures too. So it was kind of a way to not only make Sheridan look a little more interesting, but also to entertain people. Because, you know, we had to do it right then and there. So as you walked back and forth to the store, you could see the work being done that wasn't there yesterday. And a lot of people had suggestions about what should be in the mural. And so that's why I had this down there, because everybody has great ideas. But I wanted to show them what the mural was supposed to sort of look like. And at the time when I made this, as Armeter can tell you, there was supposed to be some steps. It was designed to be sort of like a stage. And there were supposed to be these steps there. That's why those steps are there. We didn't really know that that what the lamppost would look like. Added those later. And actually, there's some kind of surprises in this mural. If you go look at it sometime, and I'll tell you some surprises in all of them. There's a little white deer over there across the river. Little tiny, it's only about this big. You have to look really hard to see her. Because up in Rock Creek, where I live, we saw some white deer. We thought it would be funny to put one of those in the mural. There's some other kind of fun things in the mural. Another mural. This is the one on U.S. Bank. Now this is the original plan. Actually, let me show you this. Remember I told you we had to show drawings of what we wanted to do. This is the side of the bank. This is what we wanted to do. And then we told them how much it would cost. Because we're professional artists and we have paint and equipment, and they said, oh, well, that's a little bit too much. So we changed the design. See, that's what artists do. You can change things around. You're creative people. You have a box. You can operate within it. So this is what the original, or the second idea came about to be. However, when we got to painting this, I would like you to look really close. Of course, the big tall tree is there. We decided not to put the bird in. The waterfall. But in the rocks of the waterfall, there's two secrets. We call it Grandmother Rock. So there's a grandmother, and her hair is the waterfall. But she's kind of hidden. And you know she's a grandma because she's got a baby under her arm. There's a baby face under her arm. We had the most fun. Once you see her, you'll see her every time. But she's there. Her hair is the waterfall. So it's grandmother. And so that wasn't in the design. As I'm up there painting, see, I'm a grandma now. As I was up there painting the rocks, it started looking like a face. So I just helped it out. Make it look a little bit more like a face. So that's one big secret. She's kind of cool. So that was Grandmother Rock. But you can see, we had to change the design. And that's okay. There's another one. I don't know if you guys remember. There was a beautiful mural in Amity. Whoops. The dragon mural. Do you remember that?
I remember it.
You remember it? Well, that was another example of we had to change the design. Let me see if I have some pictures of it. If the lady that owned the building, she wanted a big, fierce dragon. So that's what we painted. There's my friend Bob, and you can see how big. This was in Amity. Now this wasn't part of the Sheridan thing. This was some other people wanted it. So there's my friend Bob, and he's a really good dragon painter. And he painted the most big, fierce dragon you've ever seen. Well, it was so fierce it scared some people in town. So here we are, we're really proud of it. It's just what the lady wanted. And see, this time she made us herself. But other people in town kind of were a little nervous about it. So we changed the design afterwards. Yes. So we changed the design. This is a little tiny picture. And we put a crusader. He's the good guy. And there's his horse. And he's going to slay the dragons. Originally, it was just the dragon. But we had to make everybody happy.
So the people of Amity were happier when there was the connotation of violence.
Right. There had to be a message.
There, I just kind of moved in about 1982, and the first thing I saw was the dragon.
Yeah, and it was. I did too. It was. Anyway, there's some conditions, things about the building. It would still be there today. If you ever get interested in the chemistry of paint, talk to me. I can tell you what not to do. Yes.
Where is it?
You know, they painted over it.
Where what?
It was on. It was on Lavelle. That great big rocky building.
Oh, across from where the new bookstore is?
Yeah, and it's a perfect. Boy, that was a hot site too. We painted it in August. It was perfect because if you were to look at some of the drawings, and I have good photographs up here, you can kind of see where the detail of the dragon and his claws and everything was flat spots in the wall. The rest of it's really bumpy. So we had to design the detail to be in specific spots. And then the crusader had to be in a different specific spot. But that's kind of a nice example. And you know what? Murals have a lifespan. They don't last forever unless you use very, 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 very expensive paint, which we could do sometime. It's a German-made silica paint that's actually a part of the wall. It never fades or anything. But that's, again, the chemistry of paint. I learned an awful lot about the chemistry of paint. There's a couple more surprises. I know I want to give you plenty of time to ask questions. Okay, and, oh, this is one of my favorite ones. The one over there on the car parts store. This is how it started, and you can look at these pictures. There is some really interesting things. You know that old-fashioned car that's there? The man that's standing in front of that car is the grandfather of the guy that owns the building. Believe me, you're trying to get somebody to let you paint on their building, promise to paint their grandpa on it. Or their mama. The little girl that's flying the kite, that's the mother. And in that, and he was, actually Grandpa was kind of famous. He was one of the first, it's a Swedish car called a Ville. He was one of the first Ville dealers in Yamhill County. So you can see his grandson now still in the family business. But it probably had started even before Grandpa. You know, they were interested in cars and bringing car business to the area. Anyway, there's a couple fun things on that one. Here's a couple of my daughters. In that tree there.
What kind of brushes did you use, Shannon?
Pardon me?
What kind of brushes?
Oh, you know, I used a lot of spray paint, and I used a lot of big, thick brushes that I get at the hardware store. And sponges. And, yeah, dabbing. I should have brought some tools. That would have been interesting. If you were to go look at this one, and you can see this one really, really well, up close, there's a real faucet in the wall where they hook up a hose. Look close at the faucet. There's a little fairy, and she's got a little bucket, and she's going to get a drop of water from the leaking faucet.
What building's that on?
That's on Naps, or in the hardware store.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's over there. So you see, that's a dynamic that happens with murals. Pretty soon they become part of the land.